Welcome to Carter's Retro Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing Actual Golf for the Sega Saturn. Now this is one of 5 golf games that I will be reviewing in a row. I'm actually missing one from the US and PAL regions, which is Virtual Golf. And I didn't realise until the very end when I went to pull it out and went, wait, where is it? Ah, shit! And I swallowed sadness, and here's what you're going to get. 5 out of 6 ain't bad. So we're going to kick it off with Actual Golf. Is it any good? Actually, that's bad. We'll cut that out. Is it any good? Well, actually, before we go on, the guy on the front cover actually looks like Matt Damon with a mustache. Can I get that in there somewhere? Hey, Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Anyway, is it any good? Let's check it out. Actual Golf was released on both the PlayStation and the Saturn. Furthermore, it was released in both the PAL region in Japan as Actual Golf in 1996, and in the US as VR Golf in the same year. The game was developed by Gremlin Interactive and published by Interplay in the US, Gremlin in the PAL region, and Naxxrasoft in Japan. Actual is a series of sporting game which also includes soccer, ice hockey, tennis and pool. The review comes from a binge on golfing games. I was either going to do all of them, or as many as I could tolerate in a row, or none of them, because quite frankly I have no accurate gauge on what goes for a good golfing game, and I need some frame of reference. So if I play a few, I can start to get a feel for what I need to look for. Menu presentation is alright. It has the same design for the buttons as Hardcore 4x4, which, if you've played that game, would make you assume that it's a bad thing. But other design decisions keep it from being slightly better, with colours that don't just blur together, and plenty of options on screen to keep it interesting. But if someone said to me that they found that aspect overwhelming, I wouldn't disagree. Once you're in game, I found the presentation to be modest and toned down a little. It's all pulled back, giving us what we need without a whole lot more. Everything is laid out in a sensible manner. This is not bad by golf game standards, as Velora Valley Golf used presentation to overcompensate for what I think the developers felt was a pretty uninteresting game. This time around, the swing indicator, while not being as elaborate, I think, looks somehow neater, while the font fits nicely even if it is a little plain. People have said this game was graphically disappointing, but I don't think so. I mean, if I didn't have other golf games to compare it to, I would totally agree. But after playing other golf games in the PAL and US regions, this game looks pretty good. Swing animation is smooth, and the grass has about as much detail as you're going to get circa 1996. We're given different shades of green to show the rough from the fairway, and the fairway from the green, which, given the nature of golf and the age of the game, is done well. The colours could have been a bit more defined, but do the job. I also appreciate this game doesn't try to shoehorn in any kind of digitised character bullshit that really dates a game like I've experienced in others. Okay, sure, the ball lacks the refreshingly smooth frame rate of a shaved scrotum, but it doesn't detract from the game. It's only really obvious if you go looking for it. In fact, the same thing could be said about the environment. On the surface, it all looks pretty nice. But when you start to look at it more through critical eyes up closer, you can start to see little problems like trees and bushes being 2D sprites that look more like cardboard cutouts than actual environment. We get some music in the menu areas, and in-game, we're treated to sound effects in an effort to emulate the golfing experience. It has a real distinct lack of music in-game of any kind. I kind of felt like something would have been better than nothing. Just some real easy listening, light fluff in the background to fill out the atmosphere would have been nice. Something like this. But a distinct lack of sound also gives off something interesting and offbeat. The occasional bird chirp lets us know that we're out in nature. In addition to this, we get 3 different commentators. The UK's Peter Allis and Tony Adamson, and the US commentator Pat O'Brien, all of which can be selected to commentate individually or in pairs. They add to the game in a positive way, with the occasional array of audience sounds.
That was a very confident shot. Great technique.
What a beautiful shot. Right onto the green.
When it comes to gameplay, there's a different feel about it. It's actually elevated by a complete lack of music, but I did have a few issues with it. For instance, there seems to be a bit of a lag between when I press C on the swing bar. Not to mention the speed of the swing bar seems a little fast, but I guess that's the challenge. And considering that that's the core mechanic, it seems to be quite a big concern, or at least initially. It's something I got used to quick enough, but it's also worth noting because you have to take this fraction of a second into consideration. If you don't, you find soon enough that your shots can be pretty inconsistent. Sometimes you're Tiger Woods, other times you're me in real life. The selection and ability to change your views gives the feeling of more control and really adds to the gameplay. Also, the fact that by default it enables a grid view on the green is something I didn't know I couldn't live without until I used it here, and it works amazingly. The choice of golf club was intuitive. If you haven't ever played golf, you can soon work out which ones are best for which scenario, as the game gives you the right club for the right occasion. The courses seem fair and the difficulty seems about spot on. Replayability has a number of modes: practice, stroke play, match play, skins, 4-ball, foursome, and AMA Tour, which gives you plenty to do. Would I recommend this game? As a golfing enthusiast, yes, definitely. If golf doesn't interest you, this is another game that will not convince you otherwise. And of the golfing games I've reviewed so far, this is a clear winner. Actual golf doesn't feel the need to overdo anything, but it keeps the game simple, pure, yet intuitive for novices like me, and does a good job of keeping you engaged.
That was a touch too powerful, too much elbow.